Okay, welcome to STEM Friday. Today, we have Ted Kawahara from Morgan Stanley. He's going to be talking about budgeting personal finances. This should be a treat, Ted, because all of us need to learn how to budget our finances at every age, right?
It's true. It's a lifelong endeavor. It really is.
Yes, it is, especially the older you get. So, that being said, I am going to let Ted introduce himself and start presenting budgeting our personal finances. Here you go.
well, well, thank you, Adrian. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to you all. And as she said, I'm an advisor with Morgan Stanley. Been in the business for over 30 years and handled retirement planning and retirement accounts for AT&T employees for well over 25 years. So got a lot of experience helping individuals with their budgeting because the budgeting is a big part not only of retirement, but when you're much younger. And I know most of you are just starting to take care of your own finances and will only become more responsible for that as you get older. So we're going to talk about on this first screen here budgeting, and really one of the important things we'll be covering is the importance of saving. And when you have enough savings, you can basically have be able to afford the things you want, the things to live your life the way you want to live. And really, it's about financial freedom, and also leading a less stressful life. Because if you are in control of your finances, you typically feel more empowered than that you're in control of your life, and that gives you more confidence and reduces stress, and less stress can lead to a healthier life as well physically. So when you're looking at just money in itself, it's important to kind of get an idea of what money really means. So we all use money pretty much every day, but it can mean something different to everyone. It may enrich your life in a variety of ways. It can help you buy necessities such as food and a home, offer the freedom to purchase luxuries and experiences like traveling or going to a concert, and provide the ability to access important resources such as education and healthcare. But I think one of the most important things I want you guys to take away today is that money is simply a tool to achieve your goals. It's not the goal itself. And I think there's a big distinction with that. We're not talking about being greedy. We're talking about having the ability to achieve your goals. And that's what managing a budget is all about. So there are different ways that you can receive money. There's, for many of you, an allowance. Some of you might also have job earnings, and oftentimes you'll get gifts. So an allowance is simply something that your parents could give you, perhaps just to help support your monthly income needs, or it could also be for good behavior, like getting good grades. Earnings can come from perhaps tutoring or babysitting. So you get a check for providing those services. And of course, gifts. Gifts could be birthday, or now that we're in the holiday season, it could be holiday gifts from family and other friends. We also have money going out. So when you have money going out, it's important to understand the differences between what you need and what you want. So needs are things such as regular recurring expenses that are essential for the day-to-day lifestyle. These are must-haves, also known as fixed expenses. Examples of this would be transportation, such as auto payments, paying for gas or train fare, phone bills, groceries, and other meals. Your wants are what are called nice-to-haves or non-essentials. These costs are also known as variable expenses. Examples of these would be dining out, new clothes, social entertainment such as concerts or movie tickets, and streaming service memberships so you can watch TVs, shows, and other things like sporting events. It's also very important to track spending with a money diary. So how you create a money diary is to simply write down everything that you spend your money on. And at the end of the week, group your expenses into categories. calculate what percent your spending is going to needs versus wants, and identify categories of wants you may want to cut back on to save more. So this diary can be done with just simply pen and paper. You could also put it on your phone or tablet in the notes section, but it's probably the first step to really proper budgeting is to first find out where the money is going to that you're spending. One of the important things about today's world is our wallets are becoming more digital. With a click of a button or a tap of a device, we can spend more money, whether it's buying something online, purchasing apps on our phone, renting movies, ordering food, or paying for someone's services. It can be very easy to lose track of the spending when paying online, which is why keeping a money diary regularly is practicing budgeting, and regularly practicing budgeting can help you keep on track. So I think one of the important things that I've read is that studies have shown if you spend money by paying physical dollars out of your wallet, you're much more likely to keep track of your spending and be more disciplined about your spending than if you're doing simply clicking an app or using a credit card. Just psychologically, it's different. So the problem with using clicks on their phone or an app is that it doesn't really feel like you're spending money. It just seems like you're getting something. But the reality is money is coming out of your bank account to pay for that. So it's really important to start documenting all the things you spend. It's also important to make savings a must. So treat your savings as an additional expense. Put aside money each month. Putting money aside each month can help you achieve goals while making sure you have some backup money available for unexpected costs or emergencies. Once you make a habit of it, you won't miss the extra money because you've gotten used to saving it. So one tip you can do as a guide is to spend 50% on needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings each month. It might be difficult at first, but this would be a goal that you want to work towards. And what's an example of an unexpected expense you might have? Well, you might have to pay for something that is lost or stolen, or you might have to make an unexpected trip to visit a relative or a friend in need. So it's very important to have an emergency fund. So when you're talking about what is a budget, one tool to easily monitor spending is called a budget, which shows you how much money you have and how and where it is being spent. A budget can help you estimate how much money you expect to receive and how much you expect to spend over a certain period of time, such as a month or year. I think once you understand your financial picture through budgeting, it'll, again, create much more self-confidence that you're in control of your life and not just spending on things that you're not even sure you need. So when you're looking at a budget, you might ask, well, why do we need it? Well, whether you're saving for something fun, like a short-term trip or a car, or saving for long-term goals, like college or retirement, budgets can help you make a plan. A budget can help you understand where your money is going, avoid overspending so you have enough money to pay for expenses, and save for both short and long-term goals. It can also help create good money habits for the rest of your life. It's really important to use budgeting to help avoid debt. Debt is simply spending more money than you have. And one of the ways that you can create more debt is by the use of credit cards. One of the things I see frequently with clients of all ages is that they'll accumulate balances on their credit cards that are charging very high interest rates, usually in the high teens. At that rate of interest, the balance you owe on that card can double in just a few years. So what I always advise clients to do is use a credit card as just a convenient way to pay for your expenses, but make sure to pay that balance completely off at the end of each month. That way you won't be charged the interest that is so dangerous to our long-term financial goals. So calculating a budget, what we want to do that is we want to collect the data to see how much money we have coming in, let's say on a monthly basis. And we also want to find out how much money we have going out and divide that into fixed or must-have expenses and variable or nice-to-have expenses. And then we want to calculate our monthly budget, which is simply adding our fixed expenses plus our target savings, hopefully 10 to 20%, plus our variable expenses. So what are other examples of fixed expenses? Car payments, gas, as we mentioned before, and phone bills, but also things such as you might not have now, but may have in the near future, such as student loans, and eventually home-related expenses such as mortgages, utilities, insurance payments. So we want to do smarter spending. And basically, when you're looking at smarter spending is the first step towards smarter saving. More informed purchasing decisions can help you feel good about choosing to spend your money or opting to save for something better later on. Before you spend your money on something, ask yourself, have I wanted to buy this item for a while, or is it just an impulse purchase? Is it exactly what I want? Will I want it next month or in 6 months? Is there a used or non-brand option that might work just as well? Am I getting the best price? Are there coupon offers available? So what is all this getting at? It's getting at to take a second or a few minutes or even longer to ask yourself why you're making this purchase and do you really want it over the long run? And sometimes we can be watching TV or watching something on our app, and an ad will pop up connected with what we're watching, and we'll just click a button, and all of a sudden we purchase something. But perhaps if we thought about it an hour later, we may not even remember we had purchased it or why we purchased it, right? It was just an impulse buy. So that's the kind of spending we want to avoid. And, we live in a consumer driven economy. So advertisers are out there to try to get us to purchase things. That's just how they make their living. So we have to protect ourselves and fight against those desires that they're trying to put into our brain to spend on things that we may not really need. So in other words, we have to be disciplined before we make the purchase. We have to start to think it over about these things we just talked about. Other things we might want to do to reduce our spending is to avoid vending machines and choosing off-peak hours such as matinees for discounted movie tickets. Also, take a look at the public library. They might have books, music, videos, and movies that you can borrow at essentially pennies on the dollar comparison to what we do at a retail shop. Also, one of the great things about apps and the internet is it's very easy to comparison shop. So when you do see something that you really like, take a few minutes to surf the web and see if it's available someplace else at a lower price. And it can be done in just a few minutes. And with our smartphone, we can be in the store looking at something and see if it's on another site at a cheaper price. So at the very least, if you do buy something, you can feel good that you may have bought it at a very good price or a price better than what a lot of other people are purchasing it at. So budgeting for financial goals, we want to take a look at both short-term and long-term goals. So short-term goals could be social events, such as going to a party or a movie, holiday spending, and travel. Long-term expenses or goals could be planning an emergency fund, paying for a college education, on other large items such as a car or a home, and eventually retirement. So it's all about balance. A balanced budget is when the amount of money you are receiving is enough to cover the amount of money you are spending. Are saving for something important? How can you cut back on spending to increase savings? What are you willing to give up, and what can you not live without? Remember, life changes, and so do expenses. Needs and savings goals also change. To keep you financially healthy, you have to practice budget regularly. So, like everything else that we do in our lives, to stay healthy, you have to exercise regularly. You also have to watch what we eat, and we also have to do the same with our financial health as well. Yeah, when you're budgeting, it's not something you just do once in a while or once a year. You have to really make it a part of your conscious life every day, and that's when you're going to be effective at balancing your budget. We'd all love to have all the things that our heart desires: buy new clothes, attend cool concerts, drive a fancy car, but our spending oftentimes can't pay for all of it. It can't all be paid for by our income because it's limited how much money we have coming in. And again, the budgets can change. There may be times when you're making more money. There may be times where you're making less money. So you might have to adjust your budget accordingly. Once you get into the workforce, you might find one year you get a bonus, another year you do not, or you might be in a position where you're not able to work as many hours as you thought. So these are all reasons why you need to be looking at your budget consistently. You may want to save for holiday spending or vacation with friends, or you may be focused on saving for college, a wedding, or buying a house. All these things are goals that can you may have at different times of your life. So, what amount can you put towards savings each month in order to help you save? Hopefully, it's amount at least equal to 10% of your income. If it's not, then you're going to need to look at scaling back your variable nice to have expenses. So some things you can consider doing is instead of going to Starbucks to get a nice latte, just make a coffee at home. Instead of going to lunch every day with your friends at a nice place that's fun to eat at, brown bag your lunch, bring it in. You'd be surprised how a few dollars each day can really add up if you multiply it times a full week, times a month, and over the course of a year. That can add hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, to your savings just by those simple habit changes. But it does take discipline and something that you have to work at. So that's basically the presentation today. Thank you again for taking the time to listen. And at this time, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.